right, hello. Today we are going to make pie dough. So there are two types of pie dough. There's a mealy pie dough, which you use a kitchen mixer and it's more of like a cookie consistency. And then there's flaky pie dough. We're going to make flaky pie dough. We're going to be using a pastry blender. So we're going to start with our base, which is our flour, which provides our structure. So pie dough is not sweet because you are going to bake it with a filling. Which typically is sweet. There are savory pie fillings, but there's not a lot of sugar in here. So we're gonna add a little bit of sugar. This is just giving a little flavor, but it really just helps with browning. And then we have salt, which is our balancer of flavor. All right, and everything is already scaled. And then we are going to mix this around. You can use a rubber scraper. I have a whisk available just to kind of break into those layers. And now we are going to use our pastry blender to cut in. So there are two types of fat that we use in pie dough. We use butter and we use shortening. Butter provides flavor, shortening provides texture. So it's already kind of cut up. You want it somewhat cold, not room temperature. And the reason why cold is because you want to maintain the layers of fat. And then you're going to take your pastry blender and you are going to cut in. And I like to rotate my bowl as I do this. You're not essentially mixing, you're just cutting those layers of fat, and that dry ingredients are surrounding those fat molecules. So all right, we are back. So all of that is incorporated, so you can kind of see it's nice and crumbly. That's what it's supposed to look like, with big chunks of fat, because again, it's going to come together. So you're done with this. We're not using this anymore. Now we're going to switch to a rubber scraper, and we already have our ice water. And you are going to incorporate, I would say probably about a half cup of that ice water, just so it starts coming together. So you start with a little, less is more. So you don't want it to be super wet. It should be pretty stiff and it should form a ball, not a bowl. Okay, so you can kind of see it starting to come together. And then I like to switch sometimes to my hand. I just find like it's a little bit easier. You just don't want to over mix it, because then the butter will melt, and we don't want it to melt. We kind of just want it to come together. So I am just going to add just maybe a tablespoon more. And the amount of flour, there's a lot of variables, or the amount of water, there's a lot of variables. It depends on the temperature of the room, the moisture content of the flour, and then obviously how much you're actually working your dough. So that's why on pie dough, it's the water is in a range, okay? So I would say this is pretty good. And I did a double crust pie dough, which means I'm gonna have a top and a bottom layer, because we're gonna use this to make a fruit pie, double layered fruit pie. Okay, so now I'm going to take my plastic wrap and I'm going to divide my dough into two. So my top layer and then my bottom layer. And I am just going to put this into a disc like so. And then I am going to refrigerate this overnight. And I'll do the same thing with this one. I'll show you how to roll it out and make our filling. All right, so today I'm going to show you how to make cherry pie filling for a fruit pie. Now, there are different types of fillings that you will learn about. There's a fresh fruit filling, a cooked fruit filling. We're doing cooked fruit. There's a cream-based, custard, savory with egg. There's meat. So we're gonna have you do a fruit cooked pie. You can switch out the fruit. We're doing cherry. So what I have in my stock pot here is I did frozen cherries with some juice, and then I boiled them. And I am going to add in sugar and cornstarch. This is gonna serve as a thickener, all right? So I'm going to mix this all together. So the sugar is gonna start the thickening and add sweetness, and then the cornstarch is our main thickener, all right? So you're going to continue cooking this. I would say at about a 4 or 5, you're gonna make sure you wanna watch it, and you're gonna let it cook until it gets thick. It will turn into almost like a gel. It's gonna take a good amount of time. So we'll be back so you can see what that looks like. All right, so my cherry filling is nice and thick. You can see it really thickened up a lot. Just a reminder that the cornstarch gets mixed in with the sugar. I had done that and forgot to tell you. So you want to make sure that off the heat, you're going to add in your almond extract. So almond extract gives it like, it's like a cherry flavor, even though it's almond. Once you smell it, you're going to see it smells like maraschino cherries, and it's added off the heat because you don't want to cook it away. You want to have that undertone. So then what you are going to do is you're going to put it in a baggie, and then you're going to be putting this, I just open it like so, pour it on in, and it's going to thicken more as it cools. You're going to put this over a water bath or an ice bath. Take all the air out, and then we will show you how to assemble. All right, so now we're going to roll out our pie dough, and I have my partner again, Miss Shaplinsky. So I'm gonna roll out the base, and she's gonna start rolling out the top. So we are gonna use our parchment paper to roll our pie dough in between. So you just put your parchment paper down, you undo your plastic wrap, and it should look marbled like so. That means that you're gonna have flaky texture, because when you roll this out, it's gonna be dough, butter, dough. Kind of like the lamination, it's just we use the cut-in method. All right, so now we are going to put a little bit of flour on both sides, and then we're gonna fold this over, and we are going to start rolling it out. So I like to kind of press it like so, and then I am going to roll, and I rotate. So I wanna make sure it's kind of staying round, because I want it to be about an inch bigger than my pie pan, all right? So Miss Shaplinsky is just rolling it out because she's gonna do lattice strips, and we'll show you how to assemble. So we'll be right back.
Go.
All right, so we are back, and I am going, so you can see that my, it's about over an inch, excuse me, and I am going to just kind of, I don't want to flip it over yet until I take off my excess. What ends up happening if you flip it and you have all this excess, it's very hard for you to do your decorative edge known as fluting, because it kind of just hangs, all right? So now at this point, save this extra dough, because you never know if you'll need it, okay, for your topping. So now I'm going to go underneath and flip over just like so. And then slowly, you're gonna pull this back. If it sticks, it's not a big deal. That's why you just go slowly. Okay, you can see all that fat. Okay. Okay, so now I am going to take my pie dough. I'm gonna go take it and go underneath. And this is so we can do our lattice, or our fluting. I'm so sorry, lattice is the topping. Fluting is the decorative edge. Okay, so now I like to go through and make a wall, like so. Okay, and take my knife, I'm just gonna dock it to prevent it from bubbling. And then now I'm gonna flute. So I'm going to take my finger and I go in like so. Okay, now there's different ways that you can flute. As long as it looks like it's fluted on the edge, that's what we're looking for. Just like so. You're gonna go around the whole pie. And now we're gonna put our filling in, and then we'll show you how to do the lattice, but you need 6 of these strips, so we'll be back. All right, so we are back, and I put about 2 cups of my cherry pie filling into here. You don't want too much of the liquid, but you do want a little of it. And then you are going to take about a tablespoon of butter, and you're gonna dot it. What that means is you just take dots of butter and you kind of spread it throughout. So this is gonna do 2 things. It's gonna continue to thicken that pie filling that we have, and then it also is gonna add little variations of some flavor. Fat is flavor, all right, just like so. And now we are going to start our lattice. So Miss Shaplinsky rolled me out some beautiful lattice strips. So I'm gonna start by putting 1 in the center, and then I'm going to crisscross it on the top, okay? And then I'm going to take my 2 other pieces here, and I'm gonna spread it out this way so you can see under, over. So then this 3rd piece over here is over, Okay, now here's where it gets a little bit tricky. All right, so I'm gonna lift my center one up, and I'm going to take another piece of my pie dough, and I'm going, so it goes over, under, and then here I am going to lift up my middle one again, and I'm going to take this piece, go like so, all right? And then now I'm gonna go around and I'm going to cut off my excess, and then I'm just going to fix the fluting, all right? And then I'm going to finish this off before I bake it. I'm gonna beat an egg, called my egg wash, and I'm going to just brush it on and sprinkle about a tablespoon of sugar on the top, and then this bakes for about 20 minutes, and I will show you what it looks like when it's done. Let me just show you what I mean by fixing my, okay. So you could, you know, do all of the fluting at the end, so you're not like redoing it, but you get the basic idea, okay? All right, we'll be back. Okay, so I have my egg wash that I'm just kind of brushing on. So the egg wash is gonna make it shiny and help with golden brown color. I know it looks weird right now, but it's gonna look really good when we bake it. And then you're gonna sprinkle it with the sugar. Now I will show you what it looks like when it's all right. Here's our finished cherry pie. You can see the beautiful golden brown, the lattice. You need to let it cool. Serve with whipped cream or ice cream a la mode.